Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimad Varavara Munaye Namaha, Srimad Lokarya Mahagurave Namaha. puLLum silambina-kAN, puLLarayan Koyil. The sixth Pasuram of Thiruppāvai. Starting from this Pasuram, for the next 10 Pasurams, Āṇḍāḻ wakes up 10 Gopikas as the representative sample of the several hundred thousands of Gopikas woken up to observe the Vrata. While waking up the first Gopika, Āṇḍāḻ says, puLLum silambina-kAN. Pul means bird. puLLum silambina-kAN means, oh look, even the birds are chirping, indicating the arrival of dawn. In this context, there is a statement of Pillai Āழ்vār that's mentioned in this Ithihyam. Dawn is a very apt time for us to engage and approach Emperuman, because our Raja and Tama gunas are subdued, and our Sattva guna, the mode of goodness, is very strong. Rajogunam means the mode of passion, and Tamogunam means the mode of ignorance. Those are subdued in the morning and in the dawn, and our Sattva guna is at its strongest. So it's a very apt time for us to engage and approach Emperuman. The chirping of the birds indicates the arrival of the dawn, and Pillai Āழ்vār states that there is nothing that's more needed or desired for the Jivatmas than the sound of these chirping birds, because this indicates the time for us to engage in Bhagavat Kainkaryam and reminds us of that. Āṇḍāḻ herself in the 29th Pasuram says, Chitranchirukale vandunnai chevit. That is, we approach you at the earliest part of the dawn. Chitranchirukale, in the morning, very early wee hours of the morning. We can also infer that the apt time for us to approach Emperuman is the dawn. Here, the birds indicate an Acharya. The inner meaning is that the Acharya's words are the ones that are the most desired for the Jivatma. The next Ithihyam is that of Achan Pillai. Āṇḍāḻ in Nachiyar Tirumozhi in one of the Pasurams says, Kala எழுந்திருந்து கரிய குருவி கணங்கள் மாலின் வரவு சொல்லி மருள் பாடுதல் மெய்மை கொலோ, which means, would it come true? Would it come true that the little sparrows wake up at dawn and sing to signify the arrival of Emperuman? Here, Achan Pillai says, in the place of Āṇḍāḻ, that is in Srivilliputtūr, would the birds even have an iota of sleep? They would also be awake through the night, just like Āṇḍāḻ, and they would just be waiting to chirp in the morning. The next Ithihyam is for the phrase Per Aravam. One of the other signs of dawn mentioned in this Pasuram by Āṇḍāḻ is that of the sound of the conch that is blown in the temple of Emperuman at dawn. An analogy for this sound is referred as an Ithihyam as the words of the Acharya Anantarvan. In Sri Ramayana, Rama killed Vali and handed the kingdom to Sugriva. Then he gave Sugriva the 4 autumn months to pass to engage in worldly pleasure with his newly found family and fortune. The agreement was that at the end of autumn, Sugriva would commence the search for Sita. But Sugriva forgot his promise and was immersed in the worldly pleasures. He did not start the search for Sita. So Rama sent Lakshmana to warn Sugriva. Lakshmana comes to the entrance of Sugriva's palace and harps his bow to make a sound. This sound created fear in Sugriva's mind, and he shuddered and trembled. The sound of the bow was sufficient to wake up Sugriva, who was enjoying with Tara, and relieve him of his delusion. So the sound of the conch blowing in the temple of Emperuman was similar to the sound of Lakshmana harping his bow. And both of these relieve us of our Maya. The next Ithihyam is on the word Pillai. Āṇḍāḻ wakes up a Pillai. Pillai, Ezhundirai is her word. This word Pillai denotes someone very young and not very ripe with knowledge. Not ripe with the knowledge that one has to engage with Emperuman in Bhagavad Anubhavam along with other devotees. It signifies somebody who's new to Bhagavad Anubhavam. In this context, Parasara Bhattar refers to someone called Chintayanti and calls her as Pillai and new to Krishna Anubhavam. The story behind this is as follows. In Gokula, Krishna used to play the flute to captivate the Gopikas. When Krishna plays the flute, all the Gopikas would drop everything they are doing in their houses and rush to where Krishna is. They would ignore their relatives, dads, moms, in-laws, and everyone. At the time, there was this one Gopika who's called as Chintayanti, who, despite hearing the mellifluous flute and wanting to go to Krishna, was hesitant upon seeing her in-laws in the front porch. Since she was listening to Krishna's flute and was thinking of him fully, she was very happy. But at the same time, since she could not go to Krishna, she was also in extreme distress. She experienced both pleasure and distress at the same time. Every time we experience pleasure, we burn our punya. And every time we experience distress, we burn our papa. Due to experiencing extreme happiness as well as extreme distress, she burnt all of her punyams and papams. Both punyams and papams keep us tied to this world. We go to moksha when we are able to relieve ourselves of both the punyams and the papams through the grace of an Acharya. Now here, since Chintayanti burnt both the punyams and the papams, she immediately attained moksha. When talking about her, Parasara Bhattar says that she must have been new to Bhagavad Anubhavam and is a perfect example of the Pillai referred by Āṇḍāḻ in this pasara. Why so? That's because while the other Gopikas were so involved with Krishna and did not see any of their relatives when Krishna played his flute, Chintayanti was unable to break those barriers and go to Krishna. Nothing mattered for the other Gopikas, whereas Chintayanti was fully aware of her place and position and time and stopped short of leaving the house. If she was experienced like the other Gopikas, then perhaps she also would have gone. But since she was new to the entire divine experience with Krishna, she did not know, she could not internalize that fully. Such is Chintayanti's position. Let's all hope that when Krishna plays the divine flute for us, we are able to forget everything and approach him too. Arvar Emperumanar Jiyar Thiruvadigalé Sharanam.